sure I wasn't able to kind of make decisions and stand by them. I had a really deep sense of sort of imposter syndrome. My confidence sort of plummeted. I was kind of questioning myself, things that I was doing.
Because the moment I was like, no, I'm not going on payroll, I need to invoice. They were like, all right, let's add. I had my child at 16. So I was more like, no, I can't do that. They're like, Charles, why is everything wrong with you? You're holding a baby and holding an infant.
And I spent the money on the offices and we were getting it all kitted out and we had a launch and everything, and literally within 4 weeks the turnover plummeted, and I kept thinking next month it'll be better, and started ploughing in money to keep the business going, to keep the staff on.
I didn't really have that much money. I had my savings, but I don't come from a family of privilege. I come from a working class family. So I had all of these kind of barriers that at the time I didn't realise were barriers. I just got on with it and just moved. I moved without thinking. I had an idea.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of She's the Boss Female Entrepreneur Stories, where I'm joined by phenomenal women from the world of business, the movers and shakers who decided to get up and follow their entrepreneurial dreams and start their own businesses. If you're new here, please make sure you click that subscribe button or the follow button if you're listening, to make sure that you get notified whenever I release a new interview. And if you're not already following on social media, make sure that you get clicking. On Instagram, I'm at She's the Boss UK, Twitter at She's the Boss INTL, LinkedIn, I'm Benoit. I also have a She's the Boss International page on LinkedIn, so check that out. And please check out my website if you're looking for support to build or grow your business, www.shesthebossintl.com. Today, I am joined by Kayleigh Benoit, who is the founder of high fashion sportswear brand Bind London. Kayleigh, thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, thank you very much for having me.
So, what is Bind London? Tell us about how you started it and what you do.
Yeah, so hi for everyone listening and watching. My name is Kayleigh and I'm the founder of a high fashion sportswear brand called Bind London. So Bind London is a fitness and athleisure brand, and we specialize in headwear that not only protects against sweat, heat and moisture, but is the first brand of its kind to cater for all hair types and textures. So it just came from my fitness journey. So I'm now 8 years into my fitness journey, and I'm also 3 years into my natural hair journey. So what I found was that when I transitioned to natural hair, I needed something that was going to protect my hair when I was training, because that was something I didn't actually consider. I was wearing weaves a lot and straightening my hair a lot. So when I transitioned to natural hair, that first workout, I was like, oh, I didn't think about this one, I didn't think this through. But what was really important was that I didn't want to compromise, because it took time for me to accept to wear my hair naturally, and I was very inspired by Black Panther. And after watching Black Panther, I literally transitioned to natural hair 2 days later. It was that impactful. So I didn't want to compromise on that. So I thought there must be, others out there who want the same thing. So I thought of myself selfishly initially, and then I thought, right, there's people to serve. So that is how Bind London was formed.
Love that story. And it's funny. So I have natural hair, it's straight right now. I also work with a personal trainer, and normally, well, for the last year or so, my hair's been braided or in an afro, and I forgot as well. So I straighten my hair, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm training. I'm sweating up my roots.
You only think about it in the middle of the training.
Yeah, whilst I'm sweating, I'm like, oh no. Now, yeah, so the back is in a bubble because it's sweated out. So I definitely need to go and buy some of your items. But they say that the best business ideas come out of problems that you have yourself and that you're trying to solve. So I love that you acknowledge that, okay, there's an issue here and there's a gap, let me fill it. What were the steps that you took to kind of get the whole thing started? Because there's many kind of ideas that I know many people have probably started and said, oh, I love that, but they don't necessarily know what the first step is. So what was the kind of first few steps that you took?
It was interesting, actually, because it was an idea. It wasn't necessarily something, it wasn't a business. It was just an idea that I had prior to it being a business. So maybe it was the other way around. So maybe how some others think of business, maybe they want to do a business and then they think, what idea can I have? This was just something that had been simmering since February 2018, which is when I transitioned to natural hair. And it was only in the summer So it was about July, August time. I read the book Slay in Your Lane and the Black Girl Bible. And it was that chapter, there was a chapter about business and it hit me. And it was about, Black female experience and how we can create amazing businesses based on our experiences and our ideas in a way that no others can, because we are our own customers and our own audience. And I was like, yeah, do you know what? This is something, this could go places. And I committed myself to going to some events and some business events. And I met the authors as well, literally a couple of months later. I really feel that this was a calling, because I was just nosy in their gram. And then I saw that they had an event at the British Library. So that was the very first kind of business event that I went and saw them speak, and was like blown away. Started going to other events. I swear, like maybe 3 events in, I was like, I'm ready to ditch my job and go for this thing whilst the fire is hot. Let's go.
No, I love that. So how did you source, I suppose, manufacture? I like to ask these questions of people that have product businesses.
Yeah.
I've always run service-based businesses, so I always find it interesting, the process of kind of getting your prototypes together, manufacturing them. How did you get around that?
So first things first was I immersed myself in as much information as possible. So my background prior to starting By London is teaching. So it's a very different industry. I had no contacts, I had no knowledge, nothing, like blank slate, basically. So events, talks, finding people in the industry, Eventbrite, getting all that information. And then again, the amazing calling. I ended up getting 2 fantastic mentors, Bianca Miller Cole and Byron Cole, who I was following Bianca on Instagram. And it just so happened that there was an event. And I said to myself, I'm going to attend as many events as possible that year. Went, and I didn't even know that she was a mentor. And then they offered the mentorship at the end. Took it, and then I got a lot of my knowledge from them, a lot of knowledge. So in terms of starting a business, they have been my saviors. And then when it's come to like specifically fashion based, again, it's doing the research. And I put a post up on my Instagram a few months ago. I said, if you don't know something, Google it, YouTube it, or outsource it, because there is enough out there. There's no excuse to not know something. So information is there when you are looking for it.
And I know, obviously, you went down the crowdfunding route. Tell us a little bit more about that, because you smashed your target out the water.
Thank you, man. That was so scary, that crowdfunding experience. No joke, but I look back on it and I think it's an accomplishment, like a runner running a marathon. It's that level. So again, that was something that my mentors had recommended, and I was like, crowdfunding, really? I thought charities like crowdfunding. I didn't think, maybe my closed mindset at the time, that who's going to pledge to a fashion brand? Like, who cares? Like, if I set up or not. But it was one of those things where I didn't particularly want to go for a business loan or things like that. I really wanted to bootstrap and start from the ground up and try and just do as much as I can without getting investors and loans, etc. And then I had this fantastic plan, because I'm a teacher, ex-teacher, and organised. Then, pandemic hit, and I just thought, the plans are out the window, and I thought, you know what, I'm going for it anyway. And I took to Instagram, as I do, did a video and said, you know what, Spirit, 2 weeks, I'm going live. Going live, whatever. If I don't do it, at least I've tried and documented it, so you can see me win, see me lose, whatever. And went for it, and thank goodness it was super successful.
And you went really hard, because I didn't see it on Instagram. I saw it on LinkedIn, and I remember seeing posts very frequently. So did you have a specific marketing strategy, or was it just, I'm just going to keep posting over and over again and hope that people see?
It's interesting looking back, because there were strategies that were adopted which I didn't realize were strategies that I adopted. I was kind of winging a lot of it. My main thing was to be really omnipresent, and it was to be everywhere at all times. So if like someone was to check my WhatsApp status, they would see me screenshotting my crowdfund page at least 10 times a day, saying, how much the pot has grown, because I want to take people on that journey, and I want them to see that whether you pledge or not, Kayleigh's getting funded. on someone. So it was about constantly posting on LinkedIn, Instagram, and I had to because and I say it publicly, my family weren't really hot on the idea of me crowdfunding during a pandemic. They had said, we probably won't be able to financially help you. And I said, no problem if you can't, but just give me my 35 days to just go hard. So if you can't pledge, no problem, but I'm doing this. So at least give me the space to just focus. And they pledged on the last day. Pledged on the last day. And that's something I actually share because I run crowdfunding masterclasses, and I'm actually in the middle of running a crowdfunding course. It's a 6-week course, so we're on week 2. So I'm actually helping 3 female founders at the moment with their crowdfunds, and they've been live for 5 days now. So I've taken everything that works for me and put them into key strategies, and it's so great seeing it work for them. It brings back great memories, but I'm so glad you can pay that knowledge forward for someone else to win as well.
So in terms of kind of your family kind of saying, well, we're not really down for that right now, how did that have any sort of impact? Well, it didn't sound like it did, but were there any moments of maybe I should do it? And also, I don't know if I'm going off on a tangent on this, but I know for my family, their opinion of crowdfunders is not the most positive, because I did a kind of semi-crowdfunding in my first business many years ago, and it was like, you're asking people for money, and it was kind of quite negative connotation. Did you have that same experience?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was why are you asking people for money in your business? Get your own money kind of thing. So they didn't understand the bigger picture. And I had invested already into my business, and that's something I make clear, for people as well, because if you want people to invest in you and pledge for you, you need to be able to be the first one to invest. So it's not that I didn't invest, I invested, and I want more. So family just didn't get it at all. Trying to explain crowdfunding to my gran was fun. It was a big experience trying to break it down. But I think what kind of made them understand were 2 things. So one, that it was I used crowdfunder and I used NatWest back her business. So it's trying to explain it's NatWest, and they will give you match funding if you raise a certain amount. Even then, my gran was like, "Are you sure this is not a scam?" I'm like, "No, Granny, like it's not like that." So I think that gave a bit more understanding. So that helped a lot. And then the second thing was when they saw that I was going to go for it anyway, and they saw that I was getting pledges, and then they saw like the feature in the Metro. I think that my mum at that point was like, "Oh yeah, she's doing bits."
We have to get on board. It's funny. So I often tell the story of when I started my first business, and my mom just was on like, get a job, get a job, get a job, get a job. And then I won a really big award. My mom attended it, and she was the first one. She pushed my husband out of the way, gave me a big hug, and then she was my raving fan from that point onwards. I think sometimes they're scared, but then when they see that other people are kind of recognizing, acknowledging, then it's easier to get them on board.
Yeah, I think with family who may not get it, or they're used to like a more traditional way of working, they need to see it to believe it. But I think with entrepreneurs, we need to believe it before we can see it. Like the belief has to lead us first, and then we see the outcomes and we see the fruits. And no one's going to see it for us, only us first.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you believed it. Can you take me back a little bit further there? Because you said you was an ex-teacher. You've also been in fitness. So at what point did this become the full thing? The main thing?
So I do other things as well. So By London isn't like my main thing. So it's great to have another, I guess, branch in terms of personal brand and the crowdfunding masterclasses and the crowdfunding course. And there's some great things to come from that. To stem from that, I had a great call with my mentor earlier today. So there's some great things to come from there. And then I also am self-employed part-time as a literacy consultant. So I still have, my foot in education. I still love education a lot. It's just that I didn't want to teach full-time. And then I had certain experiences in terms of school politics and things. I was just like, I was all the way done. I was like, full-time work, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
finished.
more what I meant. Like, at what point
Yeah.
did you say, I'm done with this and I'm going to go off and do other things?
It was, do you know what? It was, thinking about it, it was a good, I would say about 3 years prior to having, 2 to 3 years prior to By London starting. So I've always kind of gone for more, always gone for the next promotion, and I was able to be really fortunate. No, I lie. I'm not fortunate. I worked my tail off.
Yes.
Why am I being
You
humble?
talk it, we don't need to do humble, let's be honest.
Move the humble pie. I worked my butt off. In the school that I was teaching at, and literally from the stage where I went from working as a teaching assistant up to the leadership team very quickly in a short space of time, and it was going up and up, and it was great. And I went for like the promotion in the leadership team, and there was an experience that happened where I like to do lots of other things because I can manage it as far as I'm concerned. I can have my job and, you know, work my other hustles, and it was an environment where those other hustles aren't appreciated. And yeah, got a situation where I'm like, I don't need to be questioned. And it's something I've started to share openly, where actually going from someone who's always done extra to now someone who's considered being extra. And I didn't like that. I never want to be in it where I'm considered too much, or, you know, there's a cap to what I do. So it was from then, it had an effect, a long-term effect. And I think having that idea of Buying London, as soon as I latched onto it, I'm like, this is my outlet. This is it. I'm out. I'm ready to go, and I'm ready to go 100 on whatever it is I need to do to leave. And that's why I actually handed in my notice. I had the idea for Buying London in the summer, and I actually handed in my notice December. And I gave them quite a long time. I gave them 6 months, and I said, I'm staying here for 6 months so I can get the kids through their exams. But I'm just putting you on notice that, you know, at the end of the academic year, I'm gone. Gone.
and during that kind of 6 months, then were you laying the foundations? Were you putting money aside?
Yeah.
Because you hear a lot of people, particularly on the social media thing, like, just follow your dreams today, just go and do it. And actually, sometimes I think that isn't the best way to do it. And actually giving that notice both to an employer, but also to yourself, so that you're able to kind of plan and structure what you're doing, can be a better way. Well, a better way of structuring your kind of leap into entrepreneurship.
Yeah, you need to have that transition plan. And that's something that I'm actually sharing on a workshop that I'm doing next month, and on 9th of June, Leave Your 9 to 5 workshop, because I do really think there are key things to consider. And it can seem, and, you know, so cute and fluffy on Instagram when you see that, especially like, and I do love those posts, don't get me wrong, they're where it started versus how it's going, like those things, and you think that's so inspiring, and you're probably watching it like after a really hard day of work and thinking, I'm just gonna pack this all in. Don't. Like, you need a plan. You need an action plan, and the plan may not always like go swimmingly. Mine took lots of twists and turns. My plan was not smooth, but you make it work when, you know, you've set yourself to do something. So yeah.
So tell us about the twists and turns. What would you say has been the kind of biggest challenge, other than the pandemic? Because I just feel like the pandemic's been a challenge for everyone. Is there anything other than the pandemic that you say that was really challenging and I made it through and I'm proud of myself for doing that?
So what happened was, when I left my full-time teaching career, I said what I do, I really needed the flexibility. I've got certain like personal responsibilities, caring responsibilities, as well as, you know, wanting to bring up Buying London and other things that I had going on. And I was like, right, well, what I'll do, I'll just be a bit more flexible, and I will supply teach as and when. And then I was actually applied to 4 teaching agencies just to cover myself. And especially that kind of first, like the autumn term, the September and October, it's a brand new academic year. They don't really need supply teachers. So work was very thin It was very, very thin. So there were pros and cons. So the con was, well, I thought I just automatically like just be able to like pick and choose, like I'm gonna work Monday, no, I don't want to work Tuesday, I want to work Thursday. It's not like that. It's you take what you get kind of thing. But then I had time to I had more time flexibility to build up Line London, and especially that experience toughens you up. It toughens you up. So it definitely gave me what I like to call rhino skin. I've got tough skin. I'm like, if I can go through that, I could go through anything. And I think had experience in the pandemic, I felt like I was mentally prepared for it a good like 6 months prior. So I'd already kind of gone through the hardships of, in terms of work and what am I going to do, making those pivots as you call it. So by the time it was March, I'm like, I'm already in a position where I'm a bit more set in things, and yeah, I can go for anything.
I love that. So you've obviously mentioned mentorship, and mentorship being quite an important factor in kind of what you've done and how you've done it. And I know that for some people, they kind of believe in this idea of just go it alone and work it out as you go along. Well, on that, tell us more about how or why you made the decision to kind of go down the route of having a mentor or mentors, and the significant impact it's had on you and the business.
It's great to have an expert, someone who's got all that knowledge that you don't have, and to have them pay it forward to you. I question why people want to go it alone. I wonder. I mean, I've not had anyone that I know actually say that. So, but if anyone did say it to me, I'd ask why. Why do you want to go alone? Why do you want to go through additional hardships when you can have a mentor and make the road a bit easier? Because the road is tough as it is. Like, don't make it harder on purpose. So it's a great investment. I treat it as an investment of of your time and that knowledge. And sometimes I do think that not everybody, but I think some people may feel that they want to go it alone so that they've got maybe the kudos of saying that they were self-made, or that extra bit of validation. No, you need lots of help along the way. Take what you can get anywhere possible, and there's no shame in that. I ask a lot of questions to a lot of people, and people who have who are the experts love being asked. And you have to work yourself from a stage of amateur up to professional. So when you become the expert, when someone who else is new, they come and ask you, you can then continue the cycle. So I kind of don't know why someone would not want a mentor. And
Me either.
God, thank goodness for Bianca and Brian. I'm always singing their praises. Like
Yeah.
they're amazing.
I just think you're right. I think some people do just want this idea of, oh, I did it on my own. But also, I think there are some people that just, and I feel like this is a made up word, but need sufferation in their life to kind of give them motive. Do you know what I mean? Like, they say that people have relationships with drama and they live in the drama. I think sometimes that's what people do, in terms of suffering. And actually, as you said, if you've got someone that's already done it, let them help you.
Exactly. There's different levels to the suffering. I'd rather have the suffering of how am I going to spend this 10K from the crowdfund, as opposed to where am I going to get some money. Like, there's different levels to this. Like, choose your suffers.
Yeah, no, for sure. So you're doing a lot. I've seen the kind of workshops being promoted, etc. And you've got the business. You're saying you're doing the consultancy stuff. How do you juggle all of that?
Good time management.
Your time management tips?
I mean, I'm a teacher, so I'm used to working with a structure. I love working with a structure, which has its pros and cons, because if the structure goes off, I'm like, what do I do? So, and I need to learning to be more flexible and adaptable to things. But I do like a good structure, and that was something that I thought of prior to leaving full-time teaching. Like, how am I going to manage my week? Because you don't want to get into that situation where you leave your 9 to 5, or you've left that kind of the comfort of a regular income and that, that job and having a structure given to you. Because when I'm full-time teaching, my timetable is given to me. This is what you have to do, Kayleigh. Whereas, when I start being, self-employed and working for myself, I have to devise my timetable. So it's if it's meant to be, it's down to me basically. But I love putting the structure together. I enjoy it. That's why.
Yeah.
Love it.
Teacher things. One of my friends she's a deputy head teacher, and yeah, anytime anything needs to be organized or planned, I'm like, you do it, and she's just really happy to get everything organized, laminate things, and all of that stuff.
On the flip side, though, one thing I will say, and then if some of my friends who are teachers, if they listen to this, they're gonna laugh. Like, try not to overplan, because sometimes, and some of my teacher friends do this when it's January, especially. You buy the most expensive diary, you color code all your intentions, but do you actually follow through? Like, it's great having the plan, but if the plan looks cute, looks amazing, and it took you a whole week or two to put together, but you don't actually do the actions, pointless, like pointless. So yeah, I do work a bit more on like rough jotted paper as opposed to color coding my entire life. Because things change and move, and the focus really just needs to be on the action. At the end of the day, the plan can look however it looks.
Yeah,
Action is the most important.
but I think that's great advice for entrepreneurs as well. Like, sometimes people spend so long doing these fanciful business plans, and you're not actually doing anything. So then, what was the point of spending all the time doing this all singing or dancing business plan if you're not going to actually?
And how many people are going to be watching the plan? Like, it's more like the steps that you need to take in the plan is what makes the difference. And as entrepreneurs, our duty is to serve our community, or serve our niche, our customers. Like, where's the focus really going? So that has to be in the forefront.
No, for sure. Just to go back again, sorry, I probably should have asked this at the time, but when you were doing the crowdfunder, kind of after you finished, what would you say is was the biggest lesson that you learned from that experience?
Oh, I've never been asked that before. Biggest lesson. Oh, there's too many.
You can give me more than one, that's fine. Give me a couple.
Follow up. Follow up is key. Knowing that there are supporters out there, and you need to find them. Your network is everything. Your relationships are everything. And I'll say this as a lesson for anyone who's watching or listening who may consider crowdfunding, because I've seen other people go after me with crowdfunds who I know, and they will ask for the pledge, and it's very spammy in how they've asked. It's clearly a message, that the same message that's been sent to maybe a database of whoever's on their phone book, etc. You want to build relationships, and that is a key takeaway. And a lot of the people who pledged to my crowdfund, I'm still in contact with, because I'm so grateful, like so grateful. Especially, like, there's some strangers who pledged like £200, £300. I'm like, I don't know you, but you have to keep that relationship, because I'm just so grateful. So relationships, and then follow up is so key. So where I may have asked for a pledge, and I'm quite specific with how I asked, I invited them to be part of the journey, as opposed to, hey, can you donate? It's you want to take them on the journey and let them know that great things are happening, and it'd be great for them to be a part of it. So if they didn't reply, no problem. It's not that they're ghosting you or they don't want to. They may just be busy, because people are busy. And if you go back and you follow up maybe a couple of days later, then they might be, oh yes, I remembered, but I got caught up and busy. And so follow up, I think, is so important, because a lot of people can miss out on a ton of opportunities by not following up. So pennies in the cell, fortunes in the follow up is a line I heard somewhere.
Oh, I love that.
I don't know who said it.
I love it.
Well,
it's so true. It's so true. And I try to teach my clients this, because I will speak to them with, I contacted so-and-so and I didn't hear anything back. And I'm like, maybe they were busy that day. Like,
how many times do you message?
Yeah, like maybe they didn't see the email. Maybe they do what I do. They saw the email, got distracted, and completely forgot that they've seen it. I do that all the time, by the way. It's a problem.
Yeah, same.
Like, oh, I'll sort that out. Oh, let me go over there, and then they'll contact me again, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember seeing it, but I didn't reply. So yeah, I just in business generally, make sure you follow up. I think that is so key, and something that so many people don't do, and they take, as you say, take things quite personally. Like, oh my gosh, they ignored me. They ghosted me, when actually maybe they didn't even see your email. The amount of times I've done follow-ups and someone said the email didn't come through, it's not there, I haven't seen it. So not just from crowdfunding but general sales.
Yeah, and then you can paint this whole picture of, oh no, maybe I said it wrong, maybe I messaged at the wrong time. Like, no, don't take it personally. It's just business, and people are busy. Follow up if you really want it. Follow up, and how many times are you going to follow up?
Well, yeah, that's another thing. You don't want to be stalking people, but you do want to make sure that you don't just do it once and leave it at that also. So I'm going to do something a little bit different now. I'm going to do a quick fire round. Don't panic. Quick fire round, and then we're going to get to the last two questions. So I started doing a quick fire round probably about 5 interviews ago, but then I forgot to do it for the 4 interviews after. So you're going to be like the restarting of this, and I'm going to try and remember to do it next time. So, beach or city?
Oh, beach.
Which beach?
Oh, Granite's Beach in Grenada, where my family are from.
If only to be there.
No.
Fruit or veg?
Fruit.
Any favorite fruit?
Watermelon.
Oh, I do like a watermelon. TV or YouTube?
YouTube. I can't remember the last time I watched TV.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time on YouTube. iPhone or Samsung?
iPhone. What's Samsung?
I'm reading my questions off of Samsung. I do have an iPhone. I have an iPhone that I got like a month ago, and it's been off for about 2 weeks. I keep forgetting to turn it on. So I'm team Samsung actually, but I recognize that I'm walking a lonely road. You are happiest when?
I'm happiest in the morning. I'm happiest when, sounds so cliche, when I'm doing what I enjoy the most. So cliche. No, but it is.
Facts are facts. If that's it, don't worry
Yeah,
about it
that's the
sounding
truth.
cliche. Proudest moment.
Proudest moment was just the day after the crowdfund. I was interviewed by BBC Radio London, and my mum was at the bottom of the stairs listening in, and she said to me, "I'm so proud of you for what you did."
Oh,
Best moment.
oh, I love that. Biggest inspiration.
So many people. So many people. A lot of black female inspos. Bianca Miller, who's my mentor. Michelle Obama, Oprah. There's just so many. So many.
Final one. Although it might sound slightly morbid, but what do you want to be remembered for?
Leaving a lasting impact, where I've been able to successfully take everything that I've learned to pass it down to others so they can rise as well. Yeah.
That's the end of the quick fire round. You made it. She's the Boss recommends. So a book, podcast, or other form of content that's made a lasting impact on your life or your entrepreneurial journey that you want to recommend to our audience.
Can I say 2?
Yeah, that's fine.
In terms of business, without a doubt, Self-Made. I am plugging my mentors, but it's a book that I genuinely refer back to quite often. So I take it as a manual, pretty much everything that I need to know to start a business or to scale a business is in there. And sometimes I ask questions and they're like, just go back to the So pretty much everything is in there. So for business, I'd say that book. There is a book by a philosopher called Jim Rohn called Leading an Inspired Life. Amazing. If you love personal development, that is a book. Like, I read it, and you know when you just get these like key quotes, I start clapping. Like, it's like that on every page. There's like gems on every page. So I just recommend that book to anybody.
3 pieces of advice that you would like to share with those who are listening, watching at home, want to start their business. What advice would you give them?
I'm going to give some like good tangibles because um, I hate when advice like follow your dreams, do what you love, because I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with that? Give me some actions. So I'm going to give you some actions, like some 3 key actions. So first one is build your network, build it wide and build it deep. That's what I'd say to get some relationships. So when I say build wide and deep, like have a nice broad network, but then build deep. Like, who do they know? Because once you've got good, strong relationships, some things are just a lot easier because they might recommend things. You'll have more people supporting you, especially when you're in a new industry as well. Like I was, that those relationships help a lot. So build that strong network. Get on LinkedIn, especially. Second is to get super organized. So schedule your business time. And I think people need to know the difference between hobby and business. Like you can have a business from your hobby, but you cannot treat it like a hobby. You got to treat it like a business. So really be mindful of what is business time, and stick to that. And then the third thing is get personal development in. I really just think it's part of an entrepreneur's like toolkit to do personal development every day, because those hardships will come whether we like it or not, but it's how we manage it. And it's not, I think doing personal development should be something we do daily, like having a shower, so that when those challenges come, which they will, you're armed for it already. Not I have to do the personal development on the day that I'm facing the hardship. It's you've done a lot of groundwork, so you're in a better kind of state to manage it. So yeah, those are my top 3 tips.
Thank you for sharing those. If people want to find out more about you, about your business, what platforms can they find you on?
You can find me on Instagram at Benoit _. I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, Twitter, and as is my my brand at Fine London, exactly the same. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, a bit.
I haven't dabbled in that just yet, but maybe I should. Thank you so much for joining us. Really wish you every success in everything in the future. And thank you guys, as usual, for watching, for listening. If anything that Kayleigh said has resonated with you, please make sure that you write a comment. Please make sure that you like, that you share in your networks. If there's somebody that you think needs to hear this conversation, share it with them and let them know. And as I said before, if you're not following, well, first, if you're not subscribed, press that subscribe button. If you are not following on social media, make sure that you follow. I spend most of the time on Instagram. So at She's the Boss UK is where you'll find me most of the time, probably too much of the time. And if you are looking for somebody to help you build or grow a profitable, sustainable, systems-driven business, please get in touch. Visit my website, www.she'sthebossintl.com. I will be back in 2 weeks with another She's the Boss female entrepreneur story. So make sure that you set your reminders and stay tuned. And as always, remember to think big, take action, and keep pushing. Kayleigh, thank you.
Thank you so much.